Welcome to Bullets Nation, the podcast by Bullets fans for Bullets fans. I'm your host, Tracy Malone, a Bullets member since we came back into the league 10 years ago. In sporting teams, players change, coaches change, and staff move on. We don't Bullets fans, we're the constant. We've been here since the early days and will be here when the next banner goes up. This is our space to talk about our team at length. No 30-second hot takes, we're here for real hoops chat. We love this club. We argue, we cheer, we ride every run, and we carry every loss. So settle in and suit up. If you're Bullets family, you're at home here. This is Bullets Nation. As always, I want to welcome my co-host Cameron Pawluck today.
Hello there.
Welcome. So today is a bit of a wrap-up episode, what it's been like being a member and a fan this year of the Bullets. But before we get into that, we have more Bullets heading to the international stage this year. Tyrell Harrison, Tohi, Smith-Milner and Taine Murray have been named in the Tall Blacks squad for Window 2 of the FIBA World Cup qualifiers.
Yes, congratulations to all three.
Yeah.
It looked like they had a pretty close game the other night. They went down, they beat Philippines by 3 points.
Yeah.
But Tyrell looked like he had a pretty good game.
Yeah, and a big shout out as well to Taine Murray, because we gave Jacob Holt the shout out for putting on the Boomers in his first season in the NBL, and Taine's done the same twice now, so well done.
Well done.
Well done.
Yeah. And also a big congrats to Rocco for making his NBA debut. It was 4 minutes, but hey, 4 minutes in the NBA is more than most of us. So well done, big fella.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's very exciting. 4 minutes for a lot of Australia, not just Bullets fans. I know there's so many people wanting him to succeed over there, and I'm sure he will. I can already see the development in him from one season over there. He's done great things. The other thing notable that's happened in the media this week was Olgun Ulic on his podcast did announce and report that things are moving on with Will Weaver. Things are moving forward, not moving on. Sorry if anyone just
Words matter.
They do. They matter a lot. Things are moving forward with Will Weaver and the Bullets as becoming head coach. So the contract isn't signed and it's still back and forth, but it's happening. And I'm glad the contract's going back and forth, because that means we're not jumping into anything. No one's rushing and everyone knows what they want. So they'll come to something great. And we have something to look forward to. Hopefully we've got a lot to look forward to. So this season, let's talk about the members and fans' experience this year. A really good place to begin would be the members pack that were received before the start of the season. I think, if I can remember rightly, we received a hat, a keyring, a mouse pad, a sticker, and a magnet of the roster.
Yes, that's it. Plus, obviously, then our discount stuff as well. That all came through as emails.
Let's talk about the discount stuff. So what did we get on a discount that I don't know that anyone's used, because it cancels itself out?
Yeah, so you get the $20 for the online store, and then there's a 10% discount that you get throughout the season. I'm not too sure if that's just for the store or if that's also for the merch stand at the desk. I can't remember rightly.
The $20 that we got was only for the online store, and postage is $20.
Usually, yeah. I know last year when I used it, it pretty much covered my postage.
So we're not getting any benefit there?
Yeah, so I must admit I haven't bought anything online this year. I actually waited until we had the sales at the game and bought some stuff there. So I got my jersey and so forth when I think jerseys were 50% off and the shirts were all 70% off. So that worked out better than using those discounts. I do believe there was a membership discount to purchase other tickets as well.
I didn't see it this year.
10%. I didn't see it. I only got given that discount code when I reached out to the membership team.
Yeah,
but it was a reminder. Remember, this discount exists.
Well, usually at the start of the season, we get an email. It's usually 20% discount, and you give a code to friends that they put into Ticketek when they're buying their tickets. We did not receive that this year, and they put the discount to 10%. That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. I only found that out towards the end of the season when I reached out to see if there were any extra other seats that they might have available that were near us that we couldn't see. And that's when I got that discount code. So that was pretty much it. I don't have too many complaints from a membership's perspective this season. Most of it's me just being nitpicky, which I think you need to be because it always gives them other ideas and room for improvement. I'm very big on room for improvement. I didn't mind the members packs. I'm using the mouse pad, so I needed one anyway. I wouldn't want one every year because you only need so many mouse pads. I think my only negative was that we didn't get the badges again this season. I really like them. I have a bit of a thought though on how they could be used differently, and I've spoken to this before, but I'll throw it out there again. So I'd like to see the badges come out based on the number of years that you've been a member. So like a tier level that provides you with a few little extras. So you'd say you'd have four levels. You'd have platinum, gold, silver, and bronze. So working backwards, bronze, your new members up to 4 years. And then silver is from 5 to 9 years, gold 10 to 14, and then platinum is 15 and onwards. Maybe on the badge that you're a foundation member as well for this amount of time. And you could eventually maybe add another level if someone gets to 30 years. And then extras, so you could tack on discounts to memberships based on the level. So bronze would be full price, silver 5% discount on your membership, gold would be 10, platinum 15, and then after that you'd stay at 15 until you get to 30 years, and then maybe that becomes 20% off. So I just think it's a great incentive to keep people coming back and continuing to be members, especially through hard seasons like this that we've just been through, where there's a lot of people weighing up whether they want to be members again. Having that discount is a good enticement. And the enticement is to keep that because it resets if you discontinue being a member at any stage. And so you've
Yeah.
then got to go back.
Yep, I love this idea. I think it's a great idea. They're not doing enough. I don't think there's any real reward for being a member for so long. My mum was a Hawthorn football member all of her life. Since the day she landed in Australia when she was 16, she used to go down to Glenferrie Oval and watch them train, and she was a member since then. And her scarf every season, so she would get the scarf because it was Melbourne. So scarves work down there, hats work up here. And it would have the number on it of the amount of years she was a member for. And that scarf was on her coffin at her funeral. I kid you not. And the Hawthorn Football Club theme was played as we rolled her into the funeral. And that scarf went with her when she was buried. So I don't think we have anything like that. I don't think anyone is enticing us to be a member. I don't think memberships are enticing enough at the moment, but that can absolutely change. The only thing I've actually used from the members packs over the last 10 seasons of members packs, is the shopping bags. We got shopping bags one year and they fold up and they've got bullets on the front of it. So I am still advertising you every time I go shopping. And I put the sticker on my car now. I didn't used to, but I do put the sticker on the back of my car. I don't feel like they've put much thought into these packs as to what they can give us members to take their brand, the Bullets, into the wider community. It feels like they just want to give stuff and go, oh, we have to give them stuff. What will we give them? And lucky you need a mouse pad. I've got two that I don't need. Yeah, maybe office people still use mouse pads. I don't know. I don't and haven't for years. Last season, I attached that badge to my lanyard, and I've seen people attach them to their member's hat. It was a really lovely thing to have, and it was only once we got them.
Last season was the first season we've got them.
Is a real piece of memorabilia that can live on and is such a good idea, and they did it once. So
yeah, mine was on my lanyard this season as well. I went and grabbed it and transferred it over so that it was there the whole time.
I just don't think much thought's being put into it. I've not once gone to my fridge to read the schedule for any game in 10 years. I get all the magnets. So when we had 4 memberships, I got 4 magnets. And when actually, no, I didn't, because we had 2 adults and 2 kids back then. And now we've got 1 adult and 1 kid. So the kids used to get a separate members pack, which were really awesome. I really love them. We've still got the little basketballs and things like that that came out for the kids. Now the kids get exactly what the adults get, and We don't need any more key rings. So as far as the schedule goes, as a part of NBL, I signed up to receive the NBL schedule, and I just choose the Bullets, and it gets automatically every single year and every season the Bullets games automatically pop up in my Google Calendar, and I've never had to do a thing. Those magnets, have a think about it. Not sure. If anyone's using them, I'll take it all back. But we don't usually go to the fridge these days when we've got a computer sitting in our hands when we're looking for a roster. Do you reference your magnets?
No, I'm like you. I've got that schedule downloaded to my calendar. And yeah, I did that years ago. And so I just refer to that now whenever I need to know when a game is on. I will say I did take the badge idea a little from the Brisbane Lions and using the whole colours for the year, how long you've been there and so forth. I'll also say as someone who gets Lions members packs, because we are Lions members as well in this house, I actually would say we probably get more or maybe about the same as what you do from the standard Lions members. So yeah, so it's not really that much difference. You get similar sort of things. They do change it up a little bit every year as well, though.
Yeah, but you want that one consistent, and we don't really have that one
Yes, yep,
consistent. I
that's
mean,
right. Yeah,
it's, yeah. But as far as members packs go, I don't actually rate them highly. I don't get excited every year when they come out. I would rather they spent the money on the badge or the hat and actually putting the number of years on the hat or the number of years on the badge and just sending us that than the other stuff. I don't rate any of those things. I have got so many key rings and I have keyless entry. I don't even have a key ring. I
yeah,
don't use a key ring. My key sits in my bag and it does not leave it at all, ever. I know a lot of cars have that these days. I really just think that that requires a rethink. I really would love to see them sit down and nut through that this year.
yeah.
All right, let's talk about membership. So we put it out onto the socials and asked people, what did you think this year? How did it go for you? And the floodgates opened. So first we'll talk about memberships. Memberships themselves. Dave Brown said, first time member this year, and I feel like we're paying full price for the same experience others are getting discounted. There is not enough incentive, and even the perks we're supposed to have, such as discounts on merch, didn't eventuate, and that's pretty disappointing. Paid for parking up front to essentially pay full price for the same as everyone paying on the day. If
Yeah.
I miss a game, I lose out. So that was a really tricky one.
Yeah.
At Nissan Arena, there was only a limited amount of parking. So you wanted to buy that parking pass to guarantee yourself you got a spot. But
Yes.
this time there's no incentive. I actually went to buy it and all the passes were sold out. Thank God. So that is something to consider as well. Now, I am assuming, just like the other place, that parking goes to the venue, not the Bullets. So it's just another thing to think about.
Yeah. The one thing that I dislike is I travel to the games with someone with a disability. At Nissan Arena, we didn't actually have to pay for parking for disability, but yet Boondall makes you pay for disability, which I think is a real shame considering it's in the middle of nowhere. If you've got a disability and walking is one of those, you can't walk from that train station to the venue. So you don't really have a choice. So I do think the entertainment centre are taking way too much advantage of people with disabilities for their parking in that
Agreed.
regards.
That's Bullets need to advocate for that. They really need to put their foot down there and say, no, this isn't okay, because that becomes a bigger, broader issue there. And
Yeah.
surely legally, I don't think they should be allowed to do that.
Yes,
And
I
that's,
could.
yeah, you could, and the Bullets should, in my opinion. The Bullets
Yeah.
should be fighting that fight for those people with disabilities who need that. Yeah, absolutely agreed. Michael Landsberg said basically all you were doing is paying full price for a guaranteed seat. So at the BEC, the cost of membership is discounted compared to just buying the seat for each game. I think you can afford to miss 3 games and break even. The catch this year is that the season tapered out. Bums on seats became a big issue and regular tickets were easier to obtain at a discount. In a competitive season, this would not be the case, I expect. I do agree. Dan said, you are probably right. The discounts are a product of the season. It's the way things have gone, and I'm okay with it. We want to fill seats, but it's certainly less compelling to do it again. So the choice that they've made to try and get bums on seats has put off the actual bums in the seats, going, why would I actually do this?
Yes, yeah. So I'm in agreement with Michael and Dan here regarding the discounted tickets throughout the season. I think Michael's point around that basically all you were doing is paying for a full price for a guaranteed seat, that was for Nissan Arena and the convention center. So when we were there, that's our price for our seats were pretty much just guaranteeing us our seats. But since the move to BEC, the seats are technically discounted as a member. And yeah, that's where you can miss the three. Yeah, I definitely think that if the team was doing well, you could guarantee there'd be no discounted seats. There might have been some still as the league was running the Ignite Cup specials, but that was solely driven by the league, by the NBL. The Bullets didn't really have any choice in that. So there were some discounted tickets that came out that were not a Bullets thing. I do think they could have handled some of this a little bit differently throughout the season, maybe offering all members seating upgrades to the lower sections a bit more once they knew that numbers were going to be down for games, moving people up into the lower sections. And I
I
think,
would love to see that. Like, having strangers cheering for the opposition, there's two seats just behind me that are between members. So there's members and then two seats, like literally two seats, and they are for anyone. That's where Chris Golding's grandma's at. Instead of strangers who are one gamer who are cheering for the opposition, I would love to see silver members there.
yeah,
That would make me happy to actually have members coming forward into those seats
yeah,
and just everyone moving down. So going around, looking for your members, getting to know where members are. Surely by mid-season you would know who your members are and you would have a list of members. I just don't think that they thought through that. I think they went into reactive, and I think they went into, oh shit, how do we do this sales-driven scare campaign, instead of actually thinking about how can we make this work for everyone? How can we turn this terrible thing into a positive?
yeah. Yeah, I also think the club needs to look at some sort of a resale functionality for season members to sell their tickets so that if you can't attend a game for any reason, at least you can go through a verified system to make sure, one, the people purchasing them are getting legitimate tickets. I do worry when you see people throwing them up on Facebook and so forth that you might get ripped off. So I think having that sort of verified system to ensure that would go a long way.
We had it.
Yeah,
We had it just a couple of seasons ago. I remember we had it. So you absolutely could put your tickets back in if you weren't using them, and they would
yeah,
be sold
yeah,
via the club or via Ticketek itself. So that was there. We had it at Nissan Arena. We haven't had it at BC, and it's disappeared. There's so
yeah,
many great things that were happening that seem to have disappeared in the last few years.
yeah. So even being able to sell your parking along with that, so
Yeah.
that you're not losing that. So if you prepay your parking at the start of the season, you're then not losing that if you can't come to a game. Just little things like that
Yeah.
go a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. Go a long way to build community and faith and trust. So you've got your know, like, trust factor. A lot of people know, but the like and trust are down this year massively for the Bullets. So Anthony Mullins said 3 kid tickets free with paying adult was one of the specials they gave. I didn't get that offer on my membership. And as I said before, I'm not okay with the seats behind me being sold at a discount when I've been loyal and paid my membership and turned up at every game. So they need to do a better job at rewarding members. They're not doing it, especially the members who showed up every game when numbers were low and we knew that we were going to lose the game that we were going to. We absolutely knew all of this, and we didn't get rewarded in any way other than to say, thanks for showing up. That's it. Knowing somebody near me was paying half the price that I did rubbed salt into a very open wound. around that. So I think that from all we saw here, you may feel that the front office this year seemed to be reactive and sales focused instead of building community. And this has been the case for the entire 9 out of the 10 years that I have been a member with the Bullets. The first season, the first membership woman was exceptional. I cannot remember her name because it was so long ago.
Oh,
She knew how to build community.
yeah.
And then she got her dream job back in the horse racing industry. And from there, it's been sales focused and driven.
That was Jessie. That was second. She was second
Yeah.
and third year. Yeah, that was Jessie. We had someone else first year. I'm trying to remember her name. She was great as well.
Yeah.
She was really
Okay, there you
great.
go. So the first 3 years were great. When she was there, she put some amazing things in place and they've all been phased out over the years. And it is a real shame. Every time I get the opportunity to do the email in all these years, other than those first 3, I've said the same thing. You are not building community. I don't feel like I'm a part of something special at all. I feel like you're selling to me and that's it. And that is more so this year, which is a real shame. Stephanie Tyrell has commented, we've done platinum and gold seating at the BEC. We had a better view in gold seating than platinum. We were silver at Nissan and seating was way better, paying way more for a nosebleed and ordinary views. Membership in general, it was a tough season on a couple of fronts. It felt demeaning at times, seeing the train wreck, but essentially being patted on the head and told, there, we know best, which is what she felt the Bullets organisation did this year. It also felt like promises were made and broken. And I think we can all say that. Like the magic review that was going to change everything that we told, we're starting again and there's a full review and everything's going to get better. Some of the players just gave every ounce of their soul every game, Stephanie says, and some just weren't there even when they apparently were. And to bring one back that did the exact same thing a second time, well, she's got hands up on that one. Some tough conversations are happening in our household about membership next year. I followed this team since 1992. Stephanie must be close to my vintage. I was in year 11 then. And I'm still loyal to the team and the players. But when you add up the cost, not just of membership, but of travel, food and beverage, and Panadol for the headaches, if it's going to be a rinse and repeat of this season, we will watch and support from home. A lot of really good points in there. And Stephanie is someone well known for being active in the communities on Facebook. I've seen her name a lot because I did notice when the Facebook groups first started, the women that would come in and not be afraid to comment. And she's been one of them who has been an avid supporter of the team for a long time. So she's been great. Lots of great points. Let's move to the members bar. From our listeners, we have the following comments. Ben, let us know. Hello, disclaimer. This was our first year as a Bullets member. Not as long as many others, even with how poor things have gone. The aim for my family and I was to find something we would commit to as a family. I've really enjoyed the season, the conversation around the Bullets, and being able to support such a community-focused team. Things such as players being in the members bar, to interact with my daughter, who is now a lifelong Prather and Mitch Norton fan. I am a North Queensland Cowboys fan in NRL, so I have been through many tough years supporting losing seasons. Knowing sport, though, things always turn. And a big shout out to Ben's daughter, Georgia, who watches this podcast. Hi, Georgia.
Hello.
It was so lovely to meet you in the members bar, and thank you so much for watching the podcast. You're a gem. And who doesn't love Nordo?
Yeah.
With any luck, we'll see him around for a long time now that I planted the seed. Let's hope he's thinking about engaging in a university course. Judy Pawluck, Cam's mum. She needs better seating in the members bar. So the members bar itself, those big bucket type seats take up so much room and are so difficult to get out of if you have any sort of disability. I personally cannot sit in the high stools either. So really not cool and just not thought of. Nobody's considered inclusion in that bar at all. Dave Brown, if Members bar is a perk. Make it clear what is organised and timing so everyone can choose what they want to attend. I don't drink, so there's no other reason to go there. We were lucky enough to win a couple of things from the members round, but other than that, it feels like a net loss. So Dave Brown might be someone like me who is not receiving membership emails. I did speak to Cash about it, and this is not a Bullets thing, so everyone take your foot off the gas on that one. NBL changed their email system in the middle of the season, and I dropped off members' emails. So did a few other people.
Yeah.
Apparently, it does not like Microsoft emails for some reason. It is just deleting them. Cash put me back on the list and then emailed me and said, "Did you just get the members' email?" To which it was a, "No, I didn't. I have still not received anything. I'm still getting the Bullets ones. They go straight to junk, so I have to go find them, but still not receiving anything about members in there." So maybe Dave was one of those, because I do believe they do email people out to say, this is what's happening in the members bar, this is who will be here, and this is the time. Is that correct?
They hadn't been consistent with it, because I was one of those who had dropped off as well. And when I was speaking to Cash about it, she did say that there had been a few home games where they hadn't sent those emails out at all. They hadn't been consistent with it throughout the season. There were a number of games where that's what they were doing.
That's interesting. Michael said he liked the way the members bar ran this year. It's like what we used to, this is Michael Landsberg, have with the post-game presentations, but doing it before the game rather than after. Again, better than anything we've had previously. Nicole Purvis, members bar was a disappointment for myself. We have become steady members over the past couple of years. At the start of the season, I couldn't even get in to hear the Q&As. After trying a couple of times, I gave up because they have capped amount of people they can allow in. Would have been nice to be able to use that portion of our membership and get to know other members. Anthony Mullins thinks the members bar is a bit of a joke unless they are preparing for less members, which is the first thing I thought on the first game. I thought, are they preparing for less members? This is very interesting. Stephanie Tyrell says members lounge was better last season, missed the roast roll option.
I agree with that one. I really liked the Q&A in the members bar before the games. I loved hearing from players and staff, especially people like Stephen Bird. Having those types of insights, I just think is really great. We had the Q&A where Mel came in with a bunch of things that we had talked about on here and things that are being posted in various Facebook groups that were, to his, not accurate and so forth. And so he came in and addressed those things, which I thought was great. I loved that. Some people thought that he was attacking us on the pod directly.
Take it. Broad shoulders.
I had no issue with it. Like I said, and I think I said that episode after that, it was just nice to get some clarity on some of those things, and sometimes getting the truth, or what is believed to be the truth, out there. That's great. You need those things to be cleared up. It just benefits all the fans to have that information out there. And I also think it sets us apart a little bit from some of the other clubs, as they don't necessarily get that type of access to the other staff members of the club. Yes, they might get access to the players, but not necessarily people like Stephen Bird and Haj and things like that. I hope they keep that up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I loved it. It got a little bit lip service by the end of the season, and I tape it off going, I don't need to hear the same thing said again and again, which is why I think it would be great if they do mix it up. I would love to just keep hearing from different people every game. And so sometimes the CEO, and sometimes Birdie, and sometimes the sports psych, and sometimes Hart, and always players up there, but just different people every time, because that's how you decrease the distance between fans and the clubs, because there is a massive chasm between fans and the clubs, and there is like, this is in-house and we're keeping it here, and the fans are out there, and that does not build community. So that is a massive positive for what happened in the members bar. How the Bullets handled the members bar this season was excellent, and I loved that idea, but they do need to keep mixing it up and keep it fresh.
The seating thing was definitely an issue, and not just for my mum. I had a couple of other people raised that issue with me with who had disabilities and so forth. I'll also say that I frequented the members bar previous seasons. I loved those roast rolls, especially on weeknight games where you had to go straight from work to there. They were great. Can we please bring them back? My understanding is that the club was forced to move the members bar by the entertainment centre, which I just one more notch
The
in why
only,
I dislike the
yeah,
entertainment centre.
the only thing I can think of when I ask myself why would be stage and mic. That's it. The fact that they wanted to actually talk in the members bar and bring players in and have a microphone in there, that's the only thing I can think of as to
Yeah.
why.
Going back to memory, because I think the first season at BEC, they initially had it way over on, if you walked in, it was on the right-hand side. And then that area, I think, went under some sort of renovation. And so they moved it to the bigger area over into the far left corner there, which that was massive. Like that was a huge area. And so maybe, and the other reason why it might have been was there were never a lot of people in that members bar that first season, far less than what they were getting this season in terms of members going through there. I'd go in there, like I said, pretty much almost every game to go and get my roast roll, have a walk around. They occasionally had a couple things in there where they'd have players, or I think there was once where there might have been some sort of little Mel got up and said some things, but they weren't doing the Q&As and so forth like that throughout the season. So it stands to reason they'd want to, have it
It
that little
costs
bit
them
smaller.
nothing to keep that open, though. The BEC, I don't understand it at all, and I don't
Yeah.
agree with it.
Yeah. I don't agree with it either. And as a result of it being a smaller venue, a lot of people missed out on the Q&As because they just couldn't fit the people in. So you had people come up for that first Q&A, and I can remember us walking out and there was a lineup of
Yeah.
people waiting to get in. And a lot of them tried a couple of times in those first home games, and then they just stopped. And you saw the numbers in the members bar dwindle off a little bit just because they couldn't get in by the
Yeah,
time they got in there.
people just gave up, and then a bit of the rinse and repeat because the emails weren't going out saying Stephen Bird was there. If I got an email saying that, I would have been up there in a heartbeat and listening and had a bunch of questions, but
Yeah.
didn't get the emails.
Yes.
So I do wonder what they're getting for their money. The Bullets are getting for their money paying for this venue if they can't keep the members bar in the same place as last season. So if it was about numbers, then they have a good case to move it again next season,
Yeah.
please. I said there is not a lot I like about the room itself. I'm going to say there is nothing I like about the room itself. It's got low ceilings. It's got terrible lighting. All of the photos in there come out horrible. There's not enough room in the bar itself. Terrible seating, a normal chair and table. How hard is that really? What the Bullets have done has been great and excellent. This is not a slight on the Bullets, but they need to advocate for something better in the room itself. I don't have claustrophobia, but entering that room gives me claustrophobic vibes. It is not a nice room to enter. There is no good vibes when I walk into that room at all, ever. I
Yeah.
force myself in and tell my body that it's going to have to figure it out and deal with it, and we'll be out soon. I really hope that changes because the Bullets have done great things. So let's continue that and let it grow. And if you can get more members in there, you are going to have so much more member satisfaction. Okay, the venue for fans and the kids' activation. So the things out the front as you walk in with all the things that kids can do. So Wayne Harris, the way things used to be set up for the kids at Nissan was awesome. The way that it has been scaled back over time at the BEC has been disappointing. So much potential for amazing game day experience given the facilities. So with the size of the facilities, Wayne wants to see more there. Stephanie Tyrell, the carnival fun zone is woeful. My kiddo wouldn't go near it after the first two games as it was boring, and not having the option at half time to let some cabin fever out was noticeable. So we used to do that as well. So even this season, the only thing my son wanted to do was the one where you got the lollipop or the clappers or the
Yeah.
banger things. But even that, he wasn't even interested in the lollipop by the end of the season. Danny Breen game day experience seemed to start with a bang, but became less and less as the season went on, seemed less in the courtyard. So Johnny Drama did make a massive difference inside, but it's hard to flog a dead horse. Anthony Mullins, game day presentation looks like they arrived 2 hours before and chucked up some banners, low effort model. Now, I do believe Anthony was the one who flew to Adelaide and watched the Bullets game down there, and his eyes were opened, and he let us know about it. Adelaide has posters of current players and bios. It had past team lists and a blurb about how that season went for the past 30 odd years. So a newcomer could learn about the history of the team. Anthony also made a great point with this question. Can we get pre-game activities for adults rather than drinking and overpriced food and drinks? When I asked him what he would like, he said, here are a few options. Set up proper basketball hoops, maybe a sponsorship with Dream Courts. Have ex-player/NBL legends meeting and signing sessions before some games. Have a child-free zone/adults retreat. Could set up a hoop in this section. Could have basketball TED Talks with a basketball theme to get people like ex-Bullet coaches and players. Better things for kids and adults is have a bit of a carnival feeling, shooting games where you can win prizes like Bullets merch. So many good ideas in there. Anyone that I asked for an idea came back with great ideas.
Yeah, I really liked the idea of the adult zone and
Yeah,
the TED Talks as well.
The TED Talks is the one that I love the idea of. You've got 10 minutes. Talk about something for 10 minutes. And 10 minutes only. We don't want hour-long talks and things like that. What can you come in and tell us in 10 minutes?
Yeah.
And surely you can find some players, coaches, etc., throw them a few dollars and get them to sign a few things. Come in and do that. Great idea. Stephanie, Tyrell, venue, food options are better than Nissan. Seats are cramped and don't flip up to let people past. Lack of player engagement in the arena. It was much better at Nissan. As far as food options go, I think there was only one thing I could choose from, being gluten-free at Nissan Arena, but they did have little fruit salad cups, and there is nothing healthy at the BEC. So whilst they have a whole kitchen that's gluten-free, which is amazing, there is still nothing healthy to be found anywhere at all, ever, which is a bit sad. General stuff. On to general stuff. Lots of people had lots to say. This one was coming from somebody in the Bullets groups on Facebook. They said, just wondering, and I know it's a long shot, did anyone get a photo of the birthday shout out at Friday's games? This was our last home game of the season. Yeah. It was apparently done at 6:05 p.m. and the game started at 6:30 when many members, us included, were listening to Mal Watts and Stephen Bird in the members lounge 30 minutes before tip-off. I'd only ever heard it done during games, as we are never seated that early before tip-off, so never suspected that could happen. I am angry and disappointed and so glad I'd left it a surprise for our daughter so she doesn't know she missed it. But I know I am not happy. After all the crap this season, one way or another, this is really just salt in the wound. Rant almost over. Hope someone at least has a photo they're willing to share. Thanks in advance. Somebody did have a photo for her, but that does not give her daughter the experience of being at the game and seeing her name on the big screen. Really disappointing. Dan Brown says, enjoyed the games and they addressed some of the game day issues. Agree, as others have said, it can be a bit repetitive and stagnant. Access to the team and fan engagement is fantastic, depending on where you sit and depending on what you do. So I do believe at Nissan it was much better. The fans could get all the way from silver, all the way down to the front and could get things signed. The BEC staff usher you out of there so fast, they do not let you do a thing.
Yeah.
We sit and have a chat where we are with the people around us and we are ushered out every game saying you must leave now. And that was a good 30 minutes after every game. Yeah. Dan Brown goes on to say, on the right night, BEC has a good atmosphere, but no doubt win-loss ratio doesn't fill the seats. Yeah. Judy and Danny Breen said the venue is really cold. So the seats of the venue is really cold. I absolutely agree with this. But the way I see that one, is I'd rather I be cold and wear more clothes than the players be hot. That's a tricky one to
Yeah.
adjust. I think I need to adjust to that one instead of the players having to play in a hotter temperature. Okay, so this one, Michael Landsberg.
Yeah, I just want to give Michael a shout out for being probably one of the few and more vocal, optimistic members throughout the entire season. He was always a good voice of reason. I didn't always agree with what he had to say. There were times that I did, but it was a great sort of differing view and opinion to what I had. And I probably used him without knowing it as a result of some of the things he said. And so that tempered some of my viewpoints along the way. So just well done for being so optimistic throughout the season, keeping that going. It's good to see.
Yeah, I'll talk about community a bit more later. But tough year, he said. It's hard to judge the entertainment centre fairly as a venue given the well-documented roster issues we've had and inevitable impact on performance. What I will say is that in the 2 years collectively we've been at the BEC, the game day experience has been significantly improved over what it was at Nissan and what it was prior to that at the BCEC. It's easy to forget that there was a genuine case for optimism 6 months ago. We start every season with optimism, let's be honest. We took huge strides forward as an organisation in NBL 25, and while NBL 26 was a disappointment, the focus should be on proving that was a blip rather than a trend. Can't disagree. Not sure the Bullets are following through. Food and drinks are neither here nor there for me. It's the same, if not worse, anywhere else in terms of quality and price, and not sure there is much the club can do to influence this. Anthony Mullins made a point, I believe it was him, something about why can't we have food trucks outside? Why can't we have different options?
Yeah, I saw that. I get the feeling that would be a BEC
Yeah,
going. No.
I agree, but that's a real shame,
Yes.
real
Yeah.
shame, because that is such a great idea to have just different food choices outside would be amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe even set it up in the car park right out the front.
Yeah.
It's still their property, I think, so we still would lose out. So many people said they loved Johnny Drama's return and said that Johnny and Adam were the highlights of the game day experience. And I'd just like to say you're all very welcome. You're all very welcome for me following my gut and not giving up when I knew for sure that it would have a direct positive impact on the club. I
Yeah.
really did.
Yeah.
I've said it before. If it was only me, I would have dropped it. It
Yeah.
wasn't only me. I would not give up. You're welcome.
Yeah. When Johnny returned, I just had my surgery, so I didn't get to those first couple of games with his return. But upon returning to attending home games, the difference between that last game I attended and that first game back, it was a noticeable difference. And I thought they slowly got better and better towards the back end of the season. They started the dances, the flames were back and all of that, which I thought was really missing for the player entrance and things. I thought they did better as time went on, and having Johnny certainly added to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Nicole Purvis said, will say though, I enjoyed the atmosphere, win or lose, especially when drama was in the house. Yeah, it made such an enormous difference. Some other positives from Anthony Mullins were Johnny Drama and Adam, question time in the members bar, great thing, and Jumbotron. We need more replays. So having that Jumbotron is very awesome, and
Yeah.
still need to keep figuring that out. We need to figure that out. Another thing that Anthony Mullins said was game day presentations like Groundhog Day, same 14 times. Other teams / Adelaide have different themes for cheerleaders and music through the season. And when he said that, we brought it up on the podcast, and I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. And maybe not even every game. Maybe even every second game. I would like it every game. Different music themes. Look at how the house rocks on Australia Day.
Yeah.
And it's great to hear those songs once. I don't want to hear them every single week. I don't want to hear any of the same songs every single week, except for the ones that stand up and clap and do the things. They're quite good. The other thing that Anthony said was everything feels like a paid advertisements, player sponsors, etc. And so it feels like sponsorship is coming in and taking over. It can't just be a game anymore. And that's another tricky one because you need sponsors to make the world go
Yes.
round, to get the players you want, to actually have a team that's any good. And without sponsorship, we don't get the players. So you just got to take it. So we'll have to adjust to that. Jai Laidler came in and commented, and this is really cool, definitely been a tough year. I'm an interstate fan from Newcastle and followed the Bullets since they returned to the league. I was left without a team when the Falcons folded. Hopefully one day they return. The parallels between my NRL team, the Newcastle Knights, are uncanny. Every season plagued with injury, promising signings, never perform. Horrible coaching, and no matter what the off-season changes we make, we are always anchored to the bottom of the ladder year after year. But I still get excited and optimistic every game, and will continue to make the trip to Brisbane to catch a couple of games each season moving forward. Myself and my 3 daughters still proudly wear our Bullets jerseys around Newcastle no matter what. That is so cool, Jai.
Yeah.
So cool.
Excellent. So
And
cool.
I asked him why he is a Bullets supporter and not a Sydney or Illawarra supporter. And he said he hates Sydney and he does not want to support Illawarra. And Brisbane was it. And he thought Brisbane was a great idea. And he's stayed with it ever since. So we also have in our chat group J.R. Murray, and he's down in Melbourne.
Yeah.
And he supports the Bullets from down there. Anthony Mullins went on to say, can we only afford 6 cheerleaders? Really? Is that the best we can do? I said at the start of the season, the dancers themselves are great, but the overall performance has gone down, definitely. Word on the street, Anthony, is that when the proposal was put in for cheerleaders, and it was the same as it was last season, the response by the Bullets was to reduce the price to a point that it was not acceptable to pay any dancers that amount of money. So there is an email trail. Maybe you can ask the person who sent that email and made that choice as to why they chose to lowball them and move them out and bring the people in they have now instead of Errol. That was a really disappointing part of the season and something that I hope will change because the difference was extraordinary. Again, dancers themselves, great, but the whole experience, not great. I think it leveled down this year, which you would expect paying less money. You get what you pay for, as I learned with Johnny Drama. Jace Murray via Facebook said he prefers the BEC because he's from the north side, but admits it's an old and outdated, and he's looking forward to a time when we are in the new Olympic Stadium once it's built.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely tired and outdated, and I've been saying this for years.
The Bullets would agree with you there as well.
Yes, they do. I'm not holding my breath on the Olympic Stadium. It just feels like the whole handling of these Olympics is a bit of a shambles. Because in all honesty, I think they should have started now on all fronts to have these things built and ready in time, being used at least for a season or so before they hit the Olympic thing, so they know everything's all good with them. I think we're stuck with the BEC for now because there's really nowhere else that can handle the kind of numbers, over 5,000 at least. The club has their hands tied until another place exists.
Yeah, absolutely. I've said this time and time again when we moved to BC. I'm really sad to be leaving this, and I completely support the move because growth is more important than us having a rocking venue. However, this season has shown that we might have been better off staying for a couple of seasons until we got a team that could perform better. Ben came in again and said, Ben, who's Georgia's dad. Hi again, Georgia. This was a positive that he said after how great the members bar and things were. We were lucky enough to win a couple of signed jerseys and a seat upgrade and attend the gala event. So they sat with Tohi and Jensen throughout the evening, and they are both fantastic blokes. So that is so cool to hear. Game day was much better once Drama returned. Thanks, Tracy, for that. You're welcome. All in all, we will be back next season and really looking forward to it already. I look forward to seeing large crowds in the BEC in 26-27. So I asked Ben, because I wanted to hear from a fresh voice. It hasn't been around like us for years. What would you come up with? What would you change if you could change anything? And he said the schedule wasn't great. I know that's an NBL issue, but some of the game times were not family friendly. Hard when there are different time zones, but everything is focused on Australian Eastern Daylight Time, which can make a 6:30 p.m. a real rush. Unable to make members bar, etc. Again, It's an NBL issue, but this is where the Bullets advocate. The CEO has spoken about this himself, that he believes this year's roster, this year's schedule was a better schedule than last season, and he fights for it because absolutely knows that there is schedule bias happening. My only thoughts are with the game operational side, Ben went on to say, but even with that, it's hard with DMAC being handed a pile of shit and asked to turn it to gold. Would love to see some type of character about this team. I feel the players understand it and the coaches and club want Brisbane crowd to feel like they understand, but it still feels like there is something just missing with connection. I agree. Engagement is there, but is this Brisbane's team? Question mark. Excellent question. I feel this comes through team character. Mal seems to do a good job of interacting with people that sit near courtside. We sit in gold section, which is in the stand second row, and it's rare that anyone comes up here. Hard to whinge about that, though. He would be under the pump in every convo. That's why you get to the members bar. That was his, what's the word? That was his response to when we said that in our first season. We attended the gala night Saturday, a night out for my wife and I, and having two players sit at our table and genuinely interact with us is a credit to the Bullets and the players. I know a lot is spoken about internal culture, but from what I saw and spoke with Saturday, it very much seemed like a positive and close group of players, which is amazing to hear. And it is what the players and coaches themselves have been saying all season, that this team genuinely likes each other and they're getting along. Ben goes on to say, Bullets Nation podcast was really the voice of the Bullets this year for fans and members. Majority of information I got, whether it was pre or post, was all through listening to the podcast. How cool is that?
Yeah, that's awesome.
A win for us. I want to talk a little bit about socials. Thanks to everyone who, if we missed anything, let us know. We'll drop it in somewhere one day. I felt like social media this year was a little bit better because it's been terrible for a very long time. But I'd still only give it like a 5 out of 10 some weeks and then a 3. It was patchy. In patches, it was great. And then the rest of the time, it was really ordinary. I'm already seeing a few jobs posted being advertised for the Bullets within the Bullets office. So we don't know if that's a group of staff saying that they were exiting, which is what we heard. There's a lot of staff who are leaving, or if it was that they were asked to leave. We do not have that intel. So I think socials got interesting once the season ended.
Yeah.
Season over, got some time. And maybe this plays into the fact that there is no one person that does one job at the Bullets. It is one person does 6 jobs.
Yeah.
And maybe that's it. The person doing social media was so busy doing other things that social media slipped a bit because I didn't think it was good and there was no engagement.
Yes, yeah. Social media is a difficult one. You really need a team, not just a person. There are things going on 24/7, and especially on game days and so forth, where if you've only got one person and they're also looking after other stuff, that social media side of things can slip. I know, like the Brisbane Lions have a team of social media people running their social media engagement.
Yeah, so a close friend of mine taught social media for many years, and she would go into organisations and say, you've got your social media crew, but you need to make every staff member a part of your social media.
Yeah.
Every staff member can be doing behind the scenes or can be doing a little bit about their day, and that's how you actually build engagement and bring people in. When I spoke to the Bullets about this, they said that the staff would get abused if they did that, and I think that's really sad. And I think that if they did it, the members and fans would protect those being abused. If somebody came in and said something a bit rotten, I think you would find there are plenty of members and fans that would come in and say, hold on there, mate, that is not okay, and you're out. And that's where your social media person can come in and block those people very quickly. So anyone behaving badly. I think that the whole of the Bullets needs to be a little more transparent with a whole bunch of things and engage with a whole bunch of things amongst the 20 other things they're doing. One thing that I wanted to bring up, because it was really cool. So I interviewed Damien Torrey. He's a foundation member like you, Cam, at the end of last season on the podcast. And he had such an excellent idea because he has spent loads of time in sales and he's always coming up with great ideas for the Bullets to do things differently. He's always saying they could do this and they could do this and they could do this. I haven't seen anything implemented of what he said. But what he did say was he wants them to run like a social media campaign where you can be seen wearing your Bullets jersey anywhere in the world, like anywhere. On the job that you do, you snap yourself in the Bullets jersey. When you're traveling, snap yourself in the Bullets jersey. We know that Mike in our chat group was watching games from Europe. So he travelled to London and Paris mostly. And he said he got to a Euro Cup game, by the way. It was incredible. London versus Turkey at the Copper Box in London. So he could have worn his Bullets jersey to that game. And he could have taken a pic there. And he could have had a special hashtag and tagged the Bullets. And everyone who does this, maybe they go into a draw to win a meeting with their favourite player at the end of the season. They just get to choose a player that they get to go into South Bank and meet them and have 10 minutes with, sit down and have a coffee at the coffee machine with. Like, it's such a simple thing to do. There is no work that the Bullets have to do other than to track their hashtag. And it will build such engagement because it's how do you get your brand out there? And it just gets people thinking about the Bullets in their everyday life. So I thought that was a great idea, and that was Damien's idea. So well done, Damien. So talking about founding members, I have heard that they rue the day they created the founding members and they wish they could give them their money back. And I really hope that comment was a moment of frustration and overwhelm on what was a terrible season and not how management really feels about foundation members. So Cam, over to you. How was this season for you as a founding member?
I raised this as an issue last year. Last season, it really did feel like we were last minute thought of, or we were an inconvenience. This year, it felt a lot better. The foundation member event, I'm already on the record saying that they put it on at the start of the season. They made it a time and day that was a little bit more achievable for people to get to. So that's definitely a step in the right direction right off the bat. When you compare to the past few seasons, it really was an afterthought. I think that last season it was tied in with the diamond members and all of that, and there was no food or anything, and it was 4:30 in the afternoon on a Wednesday just before the game. Whereas this year it was a Sunday afternoon.
Oh, it has also been noted that Sunday afternoon was also when a Broncos game was on. So that was a little bit disappointing for some people who are also Broncos fans.
Yeah, I do think maybe they could adjust that. The time it was a 4 p.m. thing. I remember I was traveling home on the train in the dark. A lunchtime thing would have been great. We got to hear from a few of the players. We got to hear from the coaching staff. That point in time, I was still not sold on Lash as a coach. I didn't like that appointment. But I got to spend some time talking to him. We got to hang around, shoot some baskets and so forth in the high performance center and seeing how he engaged with fans. I was actually swayed by that to give him that chance that he deserved. Obviously, we know that things didn't necessarily then work out, and maybe my initial thought was great, but that's a different thing.
But still, he built a relationship.
He did.
And it was so easy to do. And that's
Yeah.
how you build community and build buy-in with people around you as you let them in. If you want people to buy in, you've got to let them in.
Yeah.
You can't leave a big wall between you and them. And Stu Lash, for all his inability to coach as a human, he showed us that he was available when he came onto members forums and things like that. He always was accessible.
Yeah.
So
Which I think we didn't have with the previous two coaches.
different.
And I really enjoyed that. Even the players that were there, we had Jalen Adams in that, and he's running around having a shooting game with a couple of the kids and so forth. And it was just really good to see. I think if I had to offer any sort of feedback, as I said, maybe have it a little bit early in the day, maybe even mid-season instead of right at the start. I know that can sometimes be tricky, but I know usually with me, if it's during the season, my schedule throughout the season is I keep wiped clean. Most of my friends know that basketball season, I'm not available.
Maybe during FIBA break, though, because I'm just thinking since DMAC took over, they've done 3 training sessions, which means there's just not a lot of time for players to do this. But you also see them out in the community, though, as well. There's a bit there, but finding one spot prior to the season and saying, look, even before or after training, because how long did this thing go for?
About 2 hours, I think it was.
Yep. So they
So
can do a
yeah,
training, have a
yeah,
shower, come and say hi. The thing about the high performance center, as excellent as it is, that you can't sit and watch training,
no,
which is
no.
what we had at Nissan. So that's been the really disappointing thing as a member, is not having open training sessions where we can just go and watch a training
Yes,
session.
yeah. People who have been members for a long time talk about that and how they used to go and watch training sessions.
Yeah, I went to every one. I loved them.
Yeah. I think the only other thing was maybe ensuring that you've actually got the team captain available for it. My understanding was Nordo was meant to be there, but I think he got selected for the Boomers, so that was out of their hands. Other than that, I think they did a reasonably good job with it. The only other real thing, and I harp on about this pretty much every year, is the foundation members cap. I know it's a little bit petty. When they started off, the caps were meant to be exclusive caps, which to me meant that they were different to anything else you could get. You couldn't just go and buy one. Other members couldn't get access to them and so forth. They were very different to what you could get elsewhere. This has been ongoing for the past 4 or 5 years, maybe even a little bit longer. I've raised it every year in my members survey. There's this lovely hat here, which was one that you just can't buy anywhere. I'd like to see that sort of get back to that level where they are very exclusive to foundation members. I do think part of the reason for that potential fall off in what they provide is the number of foundation members that have actually dropped off, because I do believe that has dropped. Just reading the names on the little board that is in the members bar, that number is nowhere near what it was when you would read the big thing that was up at Nissan Arena. Then becomes a buying power thing with the number of hats that they have to purchase and the costs.
Yeah. But again, if you got that and one other thing, that's my point, is I would love them to really think about value and memorabilia in your pack instead of what crap can we punch out there this
Yeah,
year, because people will wear it and take pride when they wear it if they've got numbers and things like that and how many years they've been there. I really would love to see transparency in membership numbers.
yeah, me too.
I think any great organisation is able to say, yep, our memberships are down this year. I'm really tired of having to scrape and scratch and look for numbers. We've only been here 10 years. We haven't had great seasons. We've moved. I just think there needs to be transparency in that. I think when people are hiding things, it just is not good at all. MVP voting in-house as well as in the league. I want transparency in that. I'm 100% with Kendrick Davis on this.
Yeah,
100%
me
Kendrick
too.
Davis. Yeah, I want to see it all.
The actual MVP race, I didn't have an issue with that. It was him not getting the full number of votes for the all first team. Makes no sense. That means there's two people that didn't have him in the first team.
And it is within everyone's right to know who those two people
Yeah,
are,
that's just
because
ridiculous.
they were wrong.
Oh,
They were
yeah,
wrong and they have shown favoritism.
yeah,
Because the
yeah,
NBL going, we need to protect their privacy. Bullshit. You need to hold them accountable.
yeah,
And this is why I want transparency as well around membership numbers. If you are a positive, open organization who is allowing people to lean in, then you will have these things out there.
yeah.
Who cares if they're low? Like, yeah. Anyway, something else interesting that happened was Mike sent me this. So Mike went on to X. Is it X? Yes. He said D-Mac said he wanted 20 attempts a game from Terry Taylor and he wouldn't do it. Terry Taylor went and found Mike on Instagram. So Mike put that up next. He came and found him on Instagram and he said, I think you'd like this for your podcast. Terry said to Mike, yeah, he said that, but he would preach to run good offense. So how can I go and shoot 20 shots when he's telling us to run good offense and telling me to kick the ball when people collapse? You Australians sure know basketball, but never played a lick of competitive pro ball to understand that people say things and off camera say another thing. He told me to try and shoot 20 times, but wants us to take good shots and play together. So there you go.
It's very interesting.
It is interesting, and it shows Terry was probably between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
Yeah. And frustrated and frustration. A lot of frustration. I was also told by somebody very close to a player, oh, the things I could tell you. And I said, off the record is a thing. I'm here. And they said, no, absolutely not. I won't ever say it, but the things I could tell you. So I think we just know that there's a lot we don't know.
Yeah.
There is a lot we don't know. And I think that's a problem. I'm a little bit more for transparency. They might call it exposure. I call it transparency. I call it being held accountable for everything that's going on.
Yes. Yeah.
Because that builds character. That builds character. It allows people to repair. It allows people to do things and go, yep, that wasn't right. The way you behave when you know people are going to hold you accountable is very different to the way you behave when it's secret squirrel in-house. Nobody's going to say anything outside of here.
Yeah.
What kind of an organisation and club do you want to have? I want to have the one where everyone knows that they will be held accountable for what it is that they're doing.
Yeah.
And that members who are paying all of this money for all of these years have transparency and access to that information to a point. Sure, there's things we can't know, but really, there's a lot we can.
Yeah. Yes. I do think there's a very big lack, not just obviously within the Bullets, but the NBL itself. And this has been an issue with the NBL for a while. We know the Hawks owner, he's been wanting more transparency around things and so forth. It's one of those top-down things that needs to start at that very top.
Yeah. And you know how influenced, I was going to say corrupt, but they're not corrupt. That's a different word. Influenced the NBL commentators are by the NBL themselves.
Yeah.
When you have that Ignite Cup final and in NBL overtime, all they talked about was how great it was to have a sellout crowd. They sold tickets for $10.
Yeah.
To have a sellout crowd at the Gold Coast, and what a great place that would be to have their own team. Even though they've tried it twice before and failed, they know that the Gold Coast are ready for that this time.
Yeah.
That is the moment where I lost respect for every one of those commentators, and I love overtime and everything they do. And I thought, not one of you believes a single word you just said. You have just done the marketing for the NBL, and that is not cool, fellas.
Yeah.
So that's really disappointing.
So just a reminder to all the members that when the club sends out their end of year survey, hopefully they continue to send it out. Make sure you take the time to complete it and put the things in that you've mentioned to us, not just for this episode, but throughout the season. It just helps drive everything that we say here. It drives it home and lets the Bullets know that it's not just us, is that everyone is feeling these things. It's just very important and a valuable tool to use as someone who spent 10 years or so working in compliance and quality and running a feedback and complaint system. These type of surveys are invaluable to customers to actually use. So make sure you go and fill it out.
And the NBL has one up at the moment as well.
They do. So make sure you fill that out as well. You get to double dip a little bit there because they'll ask you about the club that you follow. So make sure that you go and do that. I've already done mine. I just want to thank everyone who has come up to me in the members bar or around the stadium to say hello and show their appreciation for the podcast, as well as their thoughts and opinions on things. It's been great to meet everyone. It's great having other people to talk to about this club and basketball in general. I don't have a lot of friends who follow basketball, so building a community has been great, and especially during the hard times like this season has been.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun this season, haven't we?
Yeah,
and we've built a nice little core group of people who've hung in there. There's lots of people who say hello, but there's plenty of room for more people.
Yes, absolutely.
So we just want to keep building on what it is we've got and this community we've built. Yeah. So massive thanks to everyone. We love you all. no
Yes,
matter what your thoughts are.
that's it. And a special shout out to Matthew and his family. They started saving a seat in the members bar for my mum towards the end of the season, just making sure she had access to one of the easier seats for her to get in and out of. It's just greatly appreciated and shows the great community that we've been able to start building.
Matt Lee, who can be found at the front of the Boom Squad with his family.
Yes.
He's also Matt Lee Music. He actually plays guitar and sings songs to people. So go and follow him on socials and get amongst it. While we're on that, Cam, I wanted to talk about the Boom Squad because what an amazing idea. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And here's what I would love to see that is different. And some of this came from Matt because I said to him, what would you change? And I said, we need a captain of the Boom Squad, first of all. Somebody mentioned to me they need a captain. Whoever that was, credit to you. And I said to Matt, you need a captain. You need somebody to start running the chance to take ownership of the area and get things going. The Boom Squad is meant to be the cheer squad. And he said, yes, and that person needs access to leave their seat and walk across in front of the Boom Squad, because whilst we have the music that goes down it for defense, there is a lot that can happen when somebody's walking around with a D and a fence
Yeah.
at the same time, and doing that in front of the Boom Squad. So having somebody who's a captain of the Boom Squad who can actually walk in front of the Boom Squad, not all the way around the court and all the things, just for the Boom Squad, and really get some chants going and really get some things like booing Adelaide, booing Rakocevic when he comes on.
Yeah.
Start those cheers for us. Things like that, just anything like that, because it is missing at the moment. Adam's doing all the work with the music, trying to get everyone moving, and the Boom Squad is such a great idea. I loved it when it came out, and I hope they can lean into that and utilise it more as we go along. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also wanted to give a bit of a shout out to the membership team. They've got a tough job, and I thought they did a very good job this year. Cash in particular, for me, has been one of the big positives this season. It was great having another membership person who was so engaged. She's been amazing, and not just because she was always coming up to us for a chat. I did appreciate that, but I saw her in and around the stadium talking to members all the time. So engaged and doing what she could to try and keep members happy and coming back through a difficult season. I know if I had a problem or a question, she was always quick to respond.
Yeah. And on that note, there were other people from other sections, say corporate and courtside, who took thoughts to their person, and their person said, not sure what I can do about that. So the fact that Cash was responsive there was great. There are members who say, who's Cash? Never heard of her. She probably got to know a few people, and she's built on that. It's her first season, so I'm sure she might spread herself out to move to other areas and get to know more people over time. But I don't have any complaints other than not getting the emails. Yeah, from membership itself this season. But I think there's some cool things that can happen moving forward.
Absolutely. And to the staff that actually take the time to listen to our episodes, I say thank you for listening. I know you don't always agree with what we've got to say, and that's okay. I just want you to always remember that everything we say it because we love this team and we want it to succeed both on and off the court. And all the things that have been mentioned here by other supporters as well, I'm sure it comes from the exact same place. So it's not because we hate the club or anything like that. We just want to see it succeed and be the best it can.
Which is why it's so lovely when I chat to people like Ben Hahn. Ben Hahn is our current minority owner, the one who lives in Australia and attends every game. And he says, yeah, I love the podcast. Thank you so much for putting the time and passion into creating a podcast on this team. It is awesome. And I see, even because of what we said, it's your right to have your opinion. And that's why I've always said since the day I met him, very first game I was courtside and he came and introduced himself, I said, I think he's going to be the one who is going to create great change. I've got a very good feeling about him because it's a different style of leadership that he has, which is open and listening and engaging and wanting the best for the club, and knowing that if somebody comes out with something that is deemed negative, he knows it's for the club and because we love it that much. So he's got the right style of leadership and the right style of personality to make massive difference. And we know he is a massive listener of the podcast. He might even be the number one because he wants it as soon as it comes out.
Yeah.
And he's watching on YouTube while he's walking his dog and it keeps turning off because it's in his pocket. So that kind of leadership is the kind that we need. And so staff know that. Be more like Ben. Take that leadership. Let it feed down into where you are there, because everything we do is to make this club great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every single thing.
Yeah. And I'd also like to be working more with the club on getting information out there. People miss emails, they miss things on social media. And so I think if we can play a big part in getting those things out there, making it a broader information dump onto people, that's not a bad thing. It can only be great. We're here to help bring that community together.
Yeah, that is the entire point of me creating the podcast, was to make friends and create community. And so, yeah, please lean into that. And we are very open to utilising that. And we do it wherever we can anyway. But again, because I wasn't getting emails, there's not much I can do. Yeah. So it's a great thing to do. And there is something I wanted to say about community, because this is something I don't feel is happening from Bullets front office to members and fans at the moment. And that is, they're seeing negativity as such a bad thing. Like when you talked about Michael Landsberg always being optimistic, a real community is built upon people with differing opinions and ideas.
Yeah.
But they're all working towards a similar goal. And that is what community is based on. So as a woman who is 50 years old, I have spent an enormous amount of time trying to be a good girl and being told that I have to be a good girl and being told that I have to be positive and have to be all the things. And then I turned 50 and menopause hit, and you don't give as many trucks as you used to. And that's why when I built this community, I say you belong if you have a different idea to us. You belong if you think the complete opposite to what I do. And in our chat group, it happens. It's like, well, there you go. I'm not going to try and change your mind. Why would I? You've got an opinion and you're allowed it, and you still belong in this community as well. And what I've seen is more of a, you must only be positive if you follow the Bullets from the Bullet side of the organisation. And I think you are building a cult, and you will reject more people than you will bring them in. I think that whole style of leadership is old and it doesn't work and it's crumbling. And so let people have their opinions. There is a lot to be said for when people disagree with you. Say, that's really interesting. Tell me more.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
You are wrong and I am now personally offended by you.
Yeah.
So people who are negative are welcome in our chat group. People go through times where they're really down. I don't try and, well, if it stays that way for a long period of time, I then come in and go, all right, there seems to be some stuckness here. Let's talk about this for a while. What's really going on here? And then we move it through. But that's how I manage our community. And that is my job. And that's what I signed up for. And I just don't see that from the other side of the Bullets. It feels very conditional. And that would be a real shame to tell people that they can't have an opinion that differs with yours and still remain a fan and a member of the Bullets.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's my thoughts on community.
Yeah.
And I think Ben Hahn would agree with me.
Yes.
Not sure anyone else would, though.
And I just want to give co-host Scotty another shout out for his work this season.
Yes,
It's
he's
been
had
great.
something else today, doesn't he? He's got a family
Yes.
event or something today, but it's been a great season.
Yes, it's been
Always
great.
enjoyable.
And having his opinions and thoughts come through, and being able to take that all on board and how it affects some of my thoughts and so forth. It's been great. And lastly, I just want to say to you, Tracy, thank you very much for all the work that you do in putting this podcast together. You make Scott and I sound great with all our ums, ahs, likes.
And myself. Make us all sound.
and
Let's
yourself
be honest.
sound good, yes. And just your ability to engage with people and the little bits of information and news that you're able to pull out of people is brilliant. I can't do it. I am an introvert. I struggle talking with people. I am awkward. So yeah, I think you do an amazing job. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And same back to you. I love that. I said to you that our last home game when we were chatting, you just bring a different perspective to me, and I like it. I like it. I like when
great.
I say something and you go, interesting, or you say something and I go, interesting. This is my opinion as well. And I think that's really important because, again, we are not a cult here.
No.
We want to have differing opinions. We want to be across what people are thinking and saying. And and thanks to all the listeners, everyone who has engaged with us on socials, who's come up to us at games. We love every one of you, and it makes doing this worth it. So I will be getting my Sundays back soon. Every Sunday I sit down and everyone's doing all fun things. And I'm like, no, I'll be editing, getting that podcast up so that Ben Hahn gets it in his ears as quick as possible.
Yeah.
We are going to talk about stats. We're going to do a bit of a stats rundown on a few things in another episode because we got started and we went down a rabbit hole and we're still in the rabbit hole. And when we can sort the rabbit hole into something cohesive and coherent for you all to listen to, come back for that episode. So we should record that next week sometime as well.
Yeah.
But for now, if you are members and fans, when that email comes out, let them know. And maybe don't wait for the email to come out. If you have thoughts and feelings and expressions that you want to have, you email the Bullets and membership.
Yeah.
They may want to hear from you, they may not, but say it anyway, because maybe you can affect change. Look at what I did with Johnny Drama. Everyone benefits from that.
Absolutely.
And let's get Errol back next season. But other than that, thank you for joining us on this episode of Bullets Nation podcast. And we look forward to coming back into your ears one more time this season. Catch you then.
See you next week.
Nation, we're strong and loud. Bullets Nation, we're strong in